camera, and it looks like I'm holding a selfie stick. So I know I have two cameras pointing at me. This is not a selfie stick, this is an umbrella for our camera. And luckily for Zander, he's next to the camera, so he gets protected by the umbrella. Now, if we have a look there, there's a crocodile on the side of the river, and I know you guys are studying habitats. Now, here is an animal that's ideally suited to the African river aquatic habitat. Now, but that's not really a crocodile. That's a bit small. What do you think, Zander?
Yeah.
I think that's a baby crocodile. Next to us is a real big male crocodile. There he is, look at that. Isn't he a beast? He looks like a big owl to me, like Al Capone. Now, of course, they are the ultimate aquatic ambush predator. And big crocodiles like that particular one, oh, sorry, watch my hand, will not move for most of his life. Once he's big enough, he'll control a section of river like this. Now, the reason this section of river is very important is because it is a crossing point for the great migration of wildebeest, zebra, and Thompson's gazelle. So the bigger and stronger you are, the better territory you can control. And in the Mara River, the best territory is one where all the animals like to swim across the river. And this is one of the bigger crossing points. This morning, apparently, 30 or 40 zebras swam across here. But it doesn't look like they caught any. I can't see any dead zebras in the water at the moment. But of course, there's lots of different things that have an aquatic life. Oh, that one just popped under the water. And you get them there, just beyond the edge of the trees. Where there's some ripples. Or you can just see a little nose coming up. Come on, show yourself. Stop being so shy. But there are some hippos. Now, hippos live in the aquatic habitat for a completely different reason. Now, they don't actually feed in the aquatic habitat. They leave the water every night to go eat grass. Oh, the croc's moving, the croc's moving. There's that big croc. I don't know if he's seen something or he's just finished being out on the bank and he's going to go back into the depths to lie in wait for some poor unsuspecting zebra or wildebeest. Now you can see how he completely disappears, and you can see how his tail moves in the water. Now, he's probably just done with his sunbathing, since it's got a bit cold now, and the sun has disappeared behind one cloud, and we've got a bit of rain. Now Gage is wondering, am I scared? No, I'm not, Gage. I'm quite far away from him, and I'd only ever really be in danger if I was walking along the edge of the water. Now you've always got to be extra careful with any river system in Africa. Because if you think there's no crocodile, that's the crocodile that's going to bite you. Maybe he has seen something, or maybe there's another crocodile he wants to chase away. Hi. Welcome to a very cold Maasai Mara. The sun was blazing earlier, it was beautifully warm, and I didn't bring my jersey. But lucky enough, I brought my shuka. Now, we've been looking for lions, and we haven't had much success. And the reason is, mostly because the grass is so incredibly long at the moment, but Eggsy did pull off an absolutely magical spot. And we've got one of our dominant males that resides below our escarpment where we live, and they are said to be 4 of them. I've only ever seen 3 together, but he hasn't even moved. He's got a massively full belly, and I don't know how Eggsy managed to spot him. And as you can see, he's not so far off the colour of the grass. Yeah, so this is our big boy. So I said, some people say they're 4. I've only ever seen 3 together. And he is sleeping off a massive meal. Now, yesterday when we went on our very long mission across to the other side of the river and got caught in a massive storm, Hyena, Steph's wife, was in camp, and she said she heard buffalo distress calls coming from below the camp while we were away. So maybe that's what... Oof, the wind is really howling. So maybe that's what he snacked upon. Now Karen's wondering, how does the climate in the Sabi Sands and Mara differ? Well, well, the best way to describe it is, Karen, we can go from about, well, it never gets really around 30 degrees, but the sun is very, very harsh here. I'm actually changing colors at the moment at a really rapid rate. Can't get it up there, but there we go. You can see I'm really changing colors very, very quickly, and we've got to put on sun cream about 20 times a day. But then one cloud comes over and this cold wind comes in and it's freezing, and of course rainstorms all over the place. Look at this. There we go. You can see pretty much where we got stuck in a massive storm yesterday. There's another one. We were actually no. We were further to the south. On the other side of that hill. Now, so it is very different because we are high altitude. Where we're sitting at the moment is probably about 1,600 meters above sea level, and where we live, which is up there on top of that cliff, there we go. That's actually Ngama. We live in the valley behind them. That is about 2,100 meters above sea level. So it's very, very high, and that's actually one of the reasons the Maasai Mara is this absolutely incredible place. So we're surrounded by ancient volcanoes, and there's some active volcanoes less than 300 kilometers from us in Tanzania, around Natron, Alderlengai, where the Maasai's god lives, actually, up on top there. And basically what happened is all these massive volcanic eruptions have layered this whole plateau here below the escarpment that we're sitting on with really rich volcanic ash. Now this has happened a very long time ago, and over the years that ash has produced an absolutely exceptional climate for grass. Now, if you had to compare this to somewhere in South Africa that you might know, Dullstroom or somewhere up in the Drakensberg Mountains. Now, that's normally considered sauerveld because the soils aren't as good, so you get mediocre grasses up there. But because of this volcanic ash, we've got really good soil for grasses, and because of the altitude, we get the rainfall. So most high altitude mountain areas in Africa get really good rainfall, but they do not have the soil types to hold themida, basically the red oats grass they call it here. We call it Natal red grass in South Africa, and that is pretty much most animals' favorite food. So it is a product of geology, the Maasai Mara, and being up high, it can get quite cold, but because we're on the equator, it's very, very similar. Our weather doesn't change much through the year up here. It is, at night it gets down probably in the early morning to about 8 or 9 degrees Celsius. And during the day, most days, it'll get up to about 27, 28. To go over 30 is abnormal. To go below 8 or 9 is abnormal. So it's a very, very temperate climate. But if you're used to living in very hot climates like me, it can get very chilly very quickly. But thankfully, I've got my shuka. And unfortunately, I'm not walking. So there's theories on, and I actually have to say I believe it completely. If you had to walk into a lion in this area wearing your shuka properly, like I am at the moment, and carrying a stick or a spear, the lions just absolutely disappear. They run away from you. They are so scared of the Maasai people. But I mean, that's thousands of years of history all playing into each other. So that's actually learned behavior. Because if you walked up to a lion in a shuka in the Sabi sands, he would be like most lions are. Now, Len is wondering, will we be doing night drives? Yes, we most certainly will, Len. You must remember that we're just the forward team, and well, Dave's actually joining us today. Yeah, so and we've got Eggsy, Dave, Steph. Who else? We got Alex and Jared, who's new to the team as well, but you will get to meet him. He does complicated Wi-Fi stuff, which is over my head. And so that's our current team here at the moment. And Dave joins today, and then I think Rebecca's coming very, very soon. But once the rest of the team is here, we've still got 3 vehicles that are being finished up by VM. VM's also here, but he's in Nairobi doing what VM does best, cutting and welding and with spanners and ratchets and whatnot. So this vehicle, Chiku, is actually not going to be one of our normal presenting vehicles, but it was the first vehicle ready. It is actually going to be the tech vehicle, the backup vehicle. But we have made these holes in the roof. So there we go, you can see a big hole in the roof and another hole in the roof for the camera. And then VM has welded, when he came down here for the TV shows, he took one look at the tripod setup and he was like, No. So he's actually bolted a pedestal into the floor of this car that we can mount the head of the camera on, so it's a bit easier to move. So we have this as our filming vehicle for now, and it is very exciting. And most of what we're doing at the moment is, of course, you wouldn't have been seeing too much of us in the shows, is we're exploring and also working out how to bounce things. Well, not me, I just drive the clever people around who work out how to make everything work. So it's actually a really big project, with the camp being built. That's what he thinks of the wind. And so it's really fascinating. And basically, well, we're also figuring out about the lion prides and stuff like that. And Eggsy, what is the most lions you've ever seen in one day? 36 lions. We saw 36 lions in total yesterday. And of course, some of those sightings were in areas where we can't currently broadcast from, but that's one of the reasons we're here, is to work out where all the prides are, what are going to be the most important prides, where we have to focus our intentions on. So we saw, actually, after we saw Scar and one other musketeer, and thank you very much for sending the names of the musketeers in. I can only remember one now, which I think is Morani, which is obviously a young warrior in Swahili. Oh, and Hunter, but I've forgotten the fourth one's name. I will remember. Excuse me. Sorry. So as we're saying, so just beyond, after seeing Sky and them, we found the rest of the paradise females, 5 females and another 2 cubs, and they'd killed a buffalo right on the edge of the Mara River, and there was a crocodile trying to come up, and they chased the crocodile back down to the river. So I just got to now try to do my maths now. So we had 3 females and 6 cubs, and we had another 2 cubs with the second sighting, so that puts us at 8 cubs and 7 females that we know about so far in the Paradise Pride. Then, literally just beyond then, we saw more lions on top of a granite boulder we couldn't get up to, so we don't know how many were up there. But again, chatting to the head guides on both sides of the river and stuff, those are all Paradise Pride. So we're looking at over 10 females, probably close on 10, 11 cubs, and of course, the 4 musketeers. Now, they are dominating the main wildebeest crossing area, so obviously that's a very important area for us. So that's one of the areas we're going to be working in, and we're going to be actually going to go try to figure out how we're going to do that tomorrow. Now, I've completely forgotten, I got sidetracked on lions, but I got a question about brown hyenas, and I just can't remember who it was from. I'm sure FC are going to tell me, but we do have a bit of a delay. Were there any brown hyenas up in the mountains here? Now, no, there are no brown hyenas in East Africa. Night Warp was asking that. So there are no brown hyenas in East Africa whatsoever. They are truly a southern African species. The only place they sort of leave the real southern Africa is to go into Angola, a little bit along the coast from Namibia. But, okay, now I've got to get my bearings correct. Okay, so, Eggs, you see this one tree here? So not this tree, the one tree. Okay, in the middle. That one, and we go beyond that tree and over that hill, and then slightly to the right there's a dip in that far line of hills. Okay, now there's a conservancy out there called Siana. There's a spring there called Siana Springs, and I actually went there when I was about. So jump onto Google, go have a look. Striped hyena. We're very unlikely to see them in the areas that we're operating, specifically down in the Maasai Mara itself, because there's such a massive population of spotted hyenas. And there we go, Alan, thank you, I will get to you in a second. So there's such a huge amount of lions and spotted hyenas in the Mara itself, that the striped hyenas are generally in the conservancies on the peripheries, and this is right on the edge of a striped hyenas range. They then extend well up to north. Scott and Nikki get a lot of them where they are in Samburu, and they actually extend all the way through the Arab states and into India. So the striped hyena do come down that, but no brown hyena. They're exclusively southern Africa. And Alan said Sikiu is the name of the 4th musketeer. Well, who knows what it means, guys? You've got to tell me what it means. I know what the others mean. Scarface is pretty obvious. Morani is a young warrior in Maasai, and Hunter, pretty self-explanatory. But Sakani, I'm not sure what that means. So if anyone knows what that means, #Safari Live, let me know. Teach me, I want to learn with you. Isn't this exciting? We're live from the Maasai Mara in Kenya, and we have the sleepiest male lion I have seen in a long time right next to us. Eggsy's smiling from ear to ear, and for those of you who haven't watched all our broadcasts from the Mara, Eggsy probably described his feeling of being in the Mara and driving around this exquisitely beautiful place and seeing these incredible animals. He says, I've been trying to figure out what it is that I've been feeling since I've been in Kenya, and he says it's like falling in love, and that it is. I mean, we are in probably one of the most spectacular places on the planet, and we get to share it all with you. And as we continue building and getting everything sorted, we'll be able to share more and more of this incredible country and this incredible part of the world with you, and we're very, very excited to do that. Now, I don't think this chap is going to move at all by the time we have to get out of the park. So, I got sidetracked. Yes, we will be doing night drives. We're just waiting for the rest of the crew and the vehicles, and we will be starting to do night drives from then. We're going to have thermal cameras and all sorts of gadgets. It's just the best. And as I said, it's just absolutely exciting and amazing to be here. And you know what? I'll put up with the cold to see all that incredible stuff that's coming. We've got the migration coming. We've got to figure out all these lion prides, and I can't wait to do it all with you. Now, speaking of a flat cat, it sounds like James and I are on the same program this evening.